And welcome back to match number 2 of the day for the Xenon Gaming Spring Burst. My name is Navkul, being joined by Chaka. And Chaka, we have what should be a really interesting matchup on our hands for this second game.
Yes, Wasted Talents versus Valkyrie, the other two teams in Group B. And we just had our winner be promoted to the promotion match. So now it's these two teams' turns to see who will get that head up for that promotion match later on tonight, which is just after this game. Again, another best of one. And also, Malako, you have some insider information. Both of these two teams played in the Spring Burst quals.
Indeed, they met in the open portion of qualifier number 1, and it actually was a little bit of a surprising result, as it was Wasted Talent when they played on Oregon, who started off on the defense and 6-0'd Valkyrie on their defensive half. It ended up being a 7-3 in favor of Wasted Talent, but Valkyrie really wanted to put on a much better performance here, as don't want to give up that look again.
And speaking of Wasted Talents, let's talk a little bit more about them. In the qualifiers, they've had a player like Rovi in there, who's played for a Mexican Pro League team. Actually, it's not going to be Rovi. I just got debated by the graphic. It's Yanin who's going to be subbing in for him instead. Explicit Zim, Rival, and Alex Yars, who are going to be playing alongside of him. And Wasted Talent had a pretty impressive qualifier 1, beating the likes of, I believe it was Osiris, to get here in qualifier number 1.
Yeah, and this Wasted Talent team, they had some really impressive results. They went 4-2 in their open qualifier Swiss stage, but like you said, they ended up as the first seed out of that group in the closed qualifier portion, including a very impressive 2-1 victory over the aforementioned ex-Osiris roster, highlighted by a 7-2 victory on Skyscraper of all places. That has to be a surprising result, and it has to be an indicator that this Wasted Talent team is not to be messed with.
Yeah, they have a pretty decent map pool as well, playing a map like Skyscraper. They're very comfortable in a lot of different maps that usually most teams are very uncomfortable on. And speaking of teams that kind of just don't really have that big of a map pool, let's talk about Valkyrie just a little bit. In Element 2, their best map, the only map that they really had a good chance to get win on was Chalet, of course. That's going to be a little bit different tonight. You have JJ Blasses, Didi, Amty, Hitman, and Bry. All of these players have played in Element 2, but Valkyrie didn't really have a great start, as most people know, in Element 2.
Yeah, they got 0-3, which wasn't the best of results, of course, and well, they ended up bringing in some roster changes because of it. JJ and Amty, really the only remaining players, if I'm not mistaken, from that Element 2 roster. Deity make that. And well, I mean, just looking back at their qualifiers, they came into this, they ended up qualifying through qualifier number 2. They finished as a second seed, so just not exactly the strongest of qualifier performances by them, but we're looking ahead towards the map bans now. I'm surprised to see that I'm not surprised to see, I should say, that a map like Cafes banned out early on. And of course, you've got Oregon banned out by Valkyrie. They don't want to have a repeat of what happened in the qualifiers. We're going to end up on Clubhouse once again. It's more of that standard map that a lot of these teams should know how to play.
Yeah, again, it's going to be the Clubhouse. We had that in our last match between Coastal Gaming and Bros Without Hose, and we get it here between Valkyrie and Wasted Talent. The last time that they played against each other, that was an Oregon that's been banned out by Valkyrie, funnily enough, the team who lost that matchup against Wasted Talents. But for Clubhouse as a map, this is a map that, well, both teams are pretty comfortable on, but Valkyrie more so. They actually have played this map 6 times in the qualifiers, have won it 5 times, so a pretty good record on it. And then for Wasted Talents, I believe it's they've played it 3 times and they've only won it twice. So good record still, but I think Valkyrie's is a little bit more impressive.
Yeah, Valkyrie, they have some really good wins on this map, including a 7-5 victory over that ex-Osiris roster in closed calls back in qualifier number 1. So lots of impressive results coming out from them, and don't really have a ton of information, at least on my end, for Wasted Talents on this map. But obviously, like we talked about last time we came here, it's a map that many players, regardless of what tier they may be playing in, should at least have a basis of how to play on.
correction on Wasted Talent's part. They've only played this map twice, but they've won it twice. So they technically, even though it's not as a very small sample size, they have a 100% win rate on this map. So we'll see how that fares against Valkyrie's win rate on this map and just how well Valkyrie can play this map as a team. Of course, with Valkyrie, they're going to be starting off on the attack, with Wasted Talent starting off on that defense. And we can kind of skip over the bans because we've seen it happen in the last map. Usually the bans are about the same anyways, the same old operators getting banned, at least on the attack. So for Valkyrie in particular, the one thing that I'm looking forward to is just how they attack, because when I have watched them with this new formed roster after Neo and Marmalade left after the events of Element 2, the main issue, even when they were in that roster, was the fact that they just could not attack. So hopefully in the spring burst, they'll be looking to play teams like Wasted Talent, who may be looking to get a little bit aggressive and seeing how they can like organize together as a team in terms of like their roam clears and against the aggression here from Wasted Talent.
Yeah, and a little bit more different band phase coming out this time from what we saw in the last game. Gonna have the Azami banned out, so it's gonna make it a little bit easier for the attack to try and clear out a position such as arsenals, such as rafters, like we talk about, like you see so often. That Azami can be so powerful on this map, but it's gonna leave that Fenrir on the board once again. And well, we're gonna head to church and we're gonna see that
Oh,
brought out immediately and pair that with a two-row and Kaid combo. This seems to be a very big bunker strategy. A lot of
Defenders,
strong
protect your
operators on the
bombs
board
from
for
being
Wasted
defused
Talent.
by attackers.
yeah. One thing that Valkyrie does do a lot is they tend to like attack later on in a round. So Wasted Talent kind of playing it into that strategy, bringing a lot of utilities such as the Tuberal, the Kaid, and the Fenrir to really slow down this attack from
Attackers have
Valkyrie
discovered
and
the
to
location
really
of a bomb.
limit their not only limit their movement but also just limit the amount of time they might have for an execution. But we'll see how Valkyrie play against that because Wasted Talents, they might just be playing more to sight, and that means free map control for Valkyrie.
10 seconds
Just
left.
looking around the map so far, don't see a ton of indication of the
5
fact
seconds
that Wasted
remaining.
Talents are going to roam, and looks mostly to be the fact that they're going to decide to situate themselves down on the
Attackers are
site, try
moving
and
to
play
defuse the
into that
bomb.
Kai trick. Just because of the fact that you don't have a lot of hard breaching available to the side of Team Valkyrie, they do have a lot of can openers, so they do have the ability to get those hatches open with relative ease. Don't need to bring a Habana because of the fact that you've got very strong attacking line. If you've got that buck to try and bring a little bit of pressure to the kitchen side as well. So a lot of different options available for Team Valkyrie as to where they want to bring in their primary attack.
Also going to be bringing in secondary hard breaches. So Habana has been left open, but they're going to still bring something else in order to get the hatches open. Use the ace for the triple wall, I'm assuming, because using ace for the hatches doesn't really make much sense, especially not on Clubhouse where you have to waste a lot of those charges in order to even get one hatch down. But mainly it's just going to be aggression from Wasted Talents on the west stairs, and they don't even get it the first kill from that area. They get it from Garage.
Yeah, and losing the IQ there is not the most ideal operator to lose, but it's not going to be the most crucial as well, because the fact that, well, you would like the IQ to have a kind of the idea of where the defender utility is positioned, at least something like the Dreadnoughts, like the Cade Claws. You're not going to be losing a lot of that execute utility that you would have lost if you lost someone like JJ on that Grim or even Deity on that Capital, just because of the fact that you want those alive to try and force players back, especially if you're going for that arsenal take. You want to try and force them back and maybe create a more advantageous gunfight for yourself. But a lot of emphasis being put inside of Wasted Talents and the holding onto this moto hatch. You can see, again, just situated in that position, trying to deny that hatch as well.
They haven't even gotten it open white yet neither. It's been slowed down by the super round charge. And it's gonna waste 3 charges with about 12 seconds of time, so that's about like 36 seconds for all 3 of them. JJ's down 2. This attack is not really going too well for Valkyrie, and 2 Nitro Cell kills make it a 2-man count over Valkyrie from Wasted Talents.
Yep, now left up to the buck. He's got the first kill in the round. He's going to have to find all of them, and well, he's going to be taking a lot of damage from deep inside of Moto, and it's going to be Yenin to finish him off as the Cade strikes, and Valkyrie seem to be stalling out once again. I mean, talked about in the beginning, those attacks, very slow, and they struggle a lot. It's evidenced right there just because of the fact that, wow, they had a lot of that execute utility on the board. They didn't actually get to use a lot of it because of the fact that they seemed to stall out and kind of lack a general idea of where they wanted to focus their attack on.
Yeah, IQ dying in that early round or being the first pick was proving to be very important because they couldn't get Moto Hatch open with the
Defenders,
EMP
protect
impacts.
your
And
bombs
you
from
might look at the EMP
by
impacts and
attackers.
think, yeah, these are like a really cute tool. They're very nice to use. They're very quick. They're very fast. Much better than Thatcher's, but you have to be extremely accurate with the placements of a Kai, not the Kai, sorry, the EMP impacts onto a specific place. And when you have something as good as an IQ can be in detecting exactly where those Kai calls are, then it's kind of really bad when you lose her very early on a basement defense when on Moto Hatch there's no soft destruction around the hatch that you can do to make it impossible for the Kaiji
10
to
seconds
put his
to
charge
insertion.
there. So Valkyrie not really having a lot of options, not creating enough
5 seconds
for
left before
themselves, and
insertion.
that proves to be the biggest issue in that late round.
Attackers must
Well, we'll
locate and
rotate
defuse
up
a
to the
bomb.
top floor. We will have the Frost being brought out this time by Wasted Talent. A little bit of a surprise operator pick. The Valkyrie aren't keen to drone. We saw them struggle to take map control. We saw them struggle to kind of focus their execute. And if we see them run out of time, at least particularly in this round, last round it mostly just came down to the fact that they ran out of bodies. But if they are able to keep their bodies up, but still be slow with their attack, that Frost could be so deadly in the late round. Deity actually getting very aggressive inside of Garage. He has the read on the leash, just playing near blue, and he's going to try to chase him down, but Explicit's going to think better of it. He doesn't want to take a fight too early on and potentially give up a lot of map control. So he's going to go ahead and rotate back towards the site through the basement, and Deity's going to be able to take some of this map.
Gonna be a cash for CC clearance, at least from the looks of it and all the outliers position. One player also inside of Raptors, hoping to put more pressure onto this positioning here from Wasted Talent. Being a player in cash and another player top red, as you would in most cases. So they're gonna be trying to eliminate these crossfires. Our Valkyrie, and that's a good start.
Yeah, two now fall for the side of Wasted Talents, but finally it's going to be World Eater to trade practice with these Rival finding a two-piece, and now Team Valkyrie, despite getting that opening pick and despite finding that extra down as well, they're going to be on the heavy back foot, as now it's all JJ and it's all up to Hitman to try and work their way, and they do have this control inside of CCTV and Cash, but Rival has just decided to get aggressive and take it back, and he's going to find the final two. Hitman's going to fall, and Wasted Talent retake their own map. Very well done by them, and they're going to force Valkyrie to try and struggle and figure out what is going on.
Crazy, really. Aggression there from Wasted Talents not really being punished there from Valkyrie. The initial entry not being enough neither to help them clear over by Cash and CCTV. At that time, it's not really a case of it just being one-dimensional, or like they just didn't build up enough pressure anywhere. It's just the fact that they can't even like shut down the aggression or kill the
Attackers need to
roamers
locate
on that
and defuse
extension
the
from
bomb.
Cash and CCTV, which in other cases would be pretty simple to clear. You throw flashes over the top to try and get rid of the green box player, and then you isolate the gunfight on top red. But Valkyrie seemingly making it harder for themselves than needs be, and they just get absolutely dominated by Rival. We said that Wasted Talents, they're an aggressive team, and so far in the opening 2 rounds, that has been the case. They've just been taking the fight to Valkyrie, who haven't been able to punish it well.
And we're going to head up to CCTV and Cash this time. The area that we saw Team
10
Valkyrie
seconds left
do a
before
good job of
insertion.
clearing initially, but then fumbled the retake on when we saw Rival
5
go
seconds
for it.
left
And
before
we got paid in the 2 round once again, indicating that Wasted Talent are going to try to put a lot of emphasis on potentially holding on to the main platform breach. And if Valkyrie struggles to get that open, that's going to be a very crushing blow when it comes to their time management. Because we've seen them, while they have had some good moments, they have done a little bit better with their time management, particularly in the last round. Overall, haven't really done a good job of managing their time in the early round and figure out where they want to do their coordinated attack from.
Seems like they want to try and get the flat wall open first. But all in all, not enough utility to clear Raptors' position, so they just might be opening the wall just for a little bit of pressure. But that's going to take a little bit, and that may not even be open because of the Kai claw that may be placed after the delay from the Tuber canister wears off. So their push from the other side is going to happen now. Plat wall is completely open, so phantom pressure achieved there from Valkyrie, but again, really big issue is that Raptors position that may be used against this cash push once Valkyrie go for it.
One of the good news for Team Valkyrie is they don't have to worry about the Azami, but they will have to worry about that Wamai, who can still be a huge problem when it comes to holding on to Raptors. They've actually done a very good job on the attack, dealing with this map control. They've got full control of the master side of the map. You've got that phantom pressure, like you mentioned, from that CCTV balcony, and This has actually been very well paced by Team Valkyrie. They're working their way in. They're going to try to get the construction wall open, and they're going to try and see if they can force an execute on a cache. And there's a nice opening pick from Deity.
Nice opening pick. It's going to be a swing time from Yen, and Deity aggresses, but can't kill the Raptors player. So, push here for Valkyrie, not really any zoning utility neither. Yeah, they're going to have to just run straight into gunfights and hope that they win them, and JJ goes down. That's not what you need. Rival's still in the Raptors, not completely dealt with. And Bry, even though he finds the kill, it's a 2v1, now a 3v1 against Rival, isolated in garage.
Well, the good news is for Rival is he's got that down on a JJ, but I don't know if he's going to actually be able to get the confirm on it. And I believe that Hitman is actually rotated to get the confirm and the pickup, but Bry, it doesn't matter. He takes matters into his own hands and finishes off what little bit remain of the Wamai. And Valkyrie finally, in round number 3, pick up their first attack and really actually looked quite strong there. We saw them do a much better job of taking map control in a timely manner.
Yeah, and Bry going up for the flank up red stairs to put more pressure onto Wasted Talents. Or he could have came in from the plat wall. Either way, he didn't make that push one-dimensional from Valkyrie, which in previous games have been an issue. Way too many one-dimensional pushes that have been punished from head-on gunfights being taken on from Valkyrie when they come into that final push. Bry makes sure that that doesn't happen, and he puts more pressure onto Wasted Talents. He finds a bunch of value in that round, finds a 3K in particular, and after opening up the game 0-2, Bry has really come into his own. A really good fragger from Wildcard who comes into Valkyrie as that entry player who can take gunfights and who can win them. Also brings just a bunch of experience to help young players like Amty and Deity.
Looking at this round, didn't really get to see much of how Wasted Talent wanted to utilize the Tuber out and the Cade, at least the first time we came here. So I want to see if a lot more emphasis is put on the side of Team Valkyrie to trying to get these hatches open, trying to get areas such as that main church wall open as well. You've got the ace to try and do that. Even with the Maverick, we didn't really see much Maverick through the first 3 rounds, and even the last map, if at all. And so having that's going to give a lot more options to Team Valkyrie when it comes to opening up not only the walls, but the hatches as well, because of the fact that, well, Maverick isn't affected by the Tuber out and the Cade. So a really good pick there from JJ.
Yeah. Just, it means with Maverick, though, the big downside is just, or downside, sorry, is time. It takes so much time to use this Maverick torch, and also takes a bunch of skill, which I'm sure that JJ has. He knows how to use Valkyrie. He's pretty smart. I mean, not Valkyrie. Maverick. He's pretty smart. But again, that opening hatches, opening up walls, which is not advisable on basement because of the amount of nitro cells that can be used, takes a lot of time to do that. So Valkyrie have to keep that in mind.
Well, the good news is for Valkyrie is they only have 2 to worry about on the side of the defense in terms of those nitro cells. So a little bit more limited in terms of explosive capabilities. And, well, Rival is not limited in his gun skill abilities. He's going to find the opening pick, take down a lot of your hard breaching options. But thankfully, you've still got a lot available to Team Valkyrie. But you didn't really want to be losing that Capital so early on because of the fact that's one of your primary execute operators now off the board. It's going to mean a lot more emphasis is going to be put on those Grimpees to try and force these players out of these power positions, such as the Janitor, where you see Explicit currently playing. And what's going to make it even harder is he's got those Wamai packets to support him.
You lose a lot of that Capital utility, like you mentioned. It makes pushing into areas such as from dirt or even into generators a lot easier, clearing out the back of generators, clearing out the back of AKs as well. So now Valkyrie have to worry about these power positions, and really the only thing we have to clear them are the green bees, like you mentioned. Luckily, though, the hard breach utility from DD has already been used. I'm not too sure where, but it seems like Valkyrie, for this push over by the west side of the map, the main push, are having issues opening up the hatch inside of Kitchen, which removes a lot of pressure from Wasted Talent.
Well, you do have JJ, who's actually worked his way in, I believe, through the main stairs and just has the read and has the ability to start opening up the church wall. And they might be able to find the pick here, but no! Amty misses his shots. It's going to allow ALX to situate himself deeper inside of the site. A lot safer now. The Grim Beast coming in. The execute starts to heat up inside of Valkyrie, but another one falls. Make it 2 as Amty and Hitman come alive, and, well, third might fall as well. It's Bry finding another pick. Explicit finally is able to bring something back on the side of Wasted Talent, but Hitman's making it even worse. It's all up to Zim now in the 1 versus 3. He's working his way in towards Blue. He is going to find 1, but he's got 2 more. And the plant's going to be going down. It's going to be so much harder for him to get this next pick. Amty's so lucky there on 1 HP. He's able to survive. And these 2 players for Valkyrie just stacked alone inside of the church. Have the read on the fact that Zim's working his way in towards Moto. Zim just on a sliver of HP. One bullet from either of these guns. We'll go ahead and finish him off. He's got the swing, but Bry has the right read, and he's going to shut it down. Valkyrie win their church attack. Much better done there in the execute portions of the round by them.
That time it wasn't as one-dimensional, and this is what I mean. Like Valkyrie have like done a very good job in the last 2 rounds. Like having somebody rotate, just even if it's one player or 2 players, it doesn't matter. Last round it was Bry doing that. This time it was Hitman putting pressure onto the secret area, and then Valkyrie just had a better time just taking these gunfights because a lot of the pressure just wasn't like exerted onto this church execute, and they didn't have to worry about running into the guns of wasted talent head on, because wasted talents, they have to focus on everything all at once. They have to focus on a church breach, they have to focus on stock cash, they have to focus on secret stairs, they have to focus on everything now. Even though Arsenal wasn't really that big of an issue for them, everything else was, and Valkyrie made sure to take full advantage of that. Now moving on to this next round, it's Jim Bedroom here for Wasted Talents, who now tied up with Valkyrie 2-2 on defense. That's not really the best, especially not in this meta.
10 seconds to insertion.
While we have seen Valkyrie start to heat up a little bit, we still haven't seen a lot from them, at least in the
5 seconds to
intel
insertion.
department. So I'm wondering, because of the fact that Solus is still on the board, why we haven't
Attackers are
seen
moving
Wasted
out to
Talent start to
locate a
bring that
bomb
out a
and
little bit,
defuse
because that could make it a lot more advantageous to them to try and figure out where the attack is coming from. We saw them not really have a very good read on where Valkyrie wanted to focus their attack in the last round. They had, I guess, a little bit of an idea that it was coming from main stairs, but ended up not being very aware of it. So the Solus, in this case at least, I feel like that would provide a lot of benefits to Wasted Talent. But like we said, not present this round. Hopefully we see them read into it later on.
I mean, they bring the Valkyrie, that's good enough, plus the Fenrir. I think that's fine. You don't really need the Solus all too much, especially if you just don't want to play her. But Didi got a drone, needed it, and found that first kill at the bottom of main stairs. That's good control that's gained from Valkyrie, and they now can start putting pressure on to this west side of the map, and Hitman almost immediately rotating to Jacuzzi wall after getting the construction single wall open. Valkyrie are making quick work of this.
That impact grenade miss, I think the Summer was actually able to go off before it hit. Yeah, indeed, the breach is actually going to be open, so a lot more of an opportunity for Valkyrie there to try and put a little bit more phantom pressure, if nothing else, onto the defense. Valkyrie have actually done a really good job in this round. They've got all of their primary avenues into the building opened up, and they have a lot of utility still to work with. And they've got that opening pick as well. It's going to be traded back eventually by Zim, who had a little bit better of a performance. He's actually doing quite well, but oh no! Kitty not checking his feet, and he's going to fall to a frost trap. Things get even worse now as Zim for another kill inside Alogi, and another one. How about it? A quad for Zim in this round. He's swinging, trying to find the ace, but no, he's going to fall back, trying to make him out a little bit, trying to give himself a kill to try and get back in this round. Zim just situated. He has the perfect read on where the IQ is coming from, and if Deity's not checking his stairs, he's going to feed the ace right to the Fenrir. They're just going to play peekaboo and a little bit of chicken, as Deity's going to opt to disengage, however.
Is limping away like an injured wolf, now hiding in the corner, and he's gonna fight it out. And now he's hungry for more. Gonna limp up the stairs. He can't necessarily sprint, and they can hear him too. He's just limping. He's tracking blood all over the place, making a big mess in this round, just like Valkyrie did at the very beginning when they tried to execute from Jacuzzi wall. And so now he's gonna be forced to take another gunfight. And although he downs him, Deity finds, or Rival finds the last one, and it's Wasted Talent to find their very next round, now putting themselves to lead on defense, so potentially could take the half 4-2.
Yeah, and I feel like in that round, while we did see Valkyrie open up a lot of the default breaches and give themselves a lot of options, I mean, they kind of just fed themselves to Zim inside of Logi and in through main stairs. They didn't really have the right
Yeah.
read on where he was positioned there. It enabled them to pick up that 4K that we just saw. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to get the ace, but still a
Attackers need to
monstrous
locate and
effort from
defuse
him.
as
And
many
well,
bombs as
here
they
we
can.
go. Zim, as we head to our final round for Wasted Talent on the defense, they'll bring out the Solus. So a lot more information available to Wasted Talents in this round.
Also noticed that in that last round, when Valkyrie were trying to execute from the Jacuzzi area, and the way they just ran in without really using any of their utilities, specifically the flashes, when everybody after SI 2024, and I'm gonna keep using SI 24 because I think it's a really good source to talk about a lot of different things. When we know how after that event, how
10
well
seconds left.
flashes were being used to disable crossfires, how well they were
5 seconds
used
to
to clear
insertion.
out certain positions, how well they were used to help uh
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
help initiate pushes inside of the map and really just help you attack and execute from anywhere. I'm surprised that Valkyrie didn't make good usage out of it, despite having a lot of control in the first place.
Well, speaking of control, it looks for the moment that it's going to be a little bit harder in this round for Team Valkyrie to try and gain control. You've got a lot of emphasis being put on the roam for a wasted talent. Remember, this is a bottom floor defense, and you see two players. You've got ALX and you've got Zim just situated up on the top floor to try and put a little bit of pressure on Team Valkyrie, try and delay a lot of that time that we see them use so much of recently. We've seen them struggle with their time management a little bit, at least in some of the rounds. Other rounds, it just come down to the fact that they've lost the opening engagements. But while Zim and ALX might be positioned far away from each other, it's still going to provide them with a lot of opportunity to control the map and make it a lot harder for Valkyrie to
Bomb
get in,
located
as
by
they're actually just
attackers.
bypassing the roam clear. They're just going straight in and starting to open up onto site.
I mean, might as well. The hatches are closed here for wasted talent, so if they try to retake, really the only way you're gonna be able to retake is down the main stairs and down the stock hatch and down secret stairs. Really, execute coming in here from Valkyrie, maybe. Yep.
JJ is in the site. He's just getting the plant down. The execute on a site working beautifully for Team Valkyrie as they've got full control of Arsenal. Everybody from Wasted Talent falling as they try to work their way back to the site. JJ still might be on a sliver of HP, but it's not going to stop him from getting this plant down for the third time now. And it's going to put the defense in a post-plant position. Another one falls, and it's JJ to pick up the final kill. He does pretty much everything in that round, gets the plant down, finishes out the round, and we are all tied up at the half. Beautifully done, and a beautiful read from Team Valkyrie to bypass that heavy roam presence.
Yeah. And big issue there is that if you want to go for a full roam like that, you really have to have all the hatches open so you have an easier time retaking everything. They just left all the hatches closed, gave a lot of control to Team Valkyrie, who exploited that really, really well and just fully attacked site entry in from dirt. Nobody behind the AKs who could really deny that walk in or
Attackers
even
need to
deny the
locate
hatch
and
drop
defuse
neither.
the main
And
bomb.
really the only way you can deny the hatch drop is through the rotate between sites. So again, it's just Valkyrie spotting that weak spot and just attacking into it. They've done it so many times with single players doing it, but in that last round, it was the full team who did it. So a nice call from JJ, who just said, well, site's fully clear, so let me just go in and play it, and then you guys just get all the kills.
Valkyrie bringing out a very aggressive lineup to start off their defensive half. They've got the Vigil and the Solus, a lot of information to be gained and a lot of information to
10
be
seconds
denied
left.
for the defense as wasted talent. And have to potentially read into this
5
top
seconds
floor here.
remaining.
They're likely going to see a lot of roam press from the defense. So they can either do what Valkyrie just
Attackers
did
are
and
moving out to
bypass it
locate
completely,
a bomb
see if
and
a
defuse
direct
it.
push onto the site will work out better. But I believe, at least the way that we've seen them play so far, they're likely going to try to clear out these roamers. They want to make sure that they get all the steps, they get all the boxes checked off. And indeed, here you go. The engagement potentially coming in here very early on as Hitman just situated inside of Secret, trying to take an early engagement, trying to take out Rival on the bot.
To take that gunfight and ultimately
Ouch.
just get shredded apart. Hitman being a little aggressive. And yeah, you just lose that Fenrir early, and yeah, you get to place down those Fenrir mines, but the switch up into different positions depending on where the push is actually very powerful. And now another player dies. It's direct fight taking it from wasted talents, and they've completely just opened up the site.
Indeed, Explicit just working his way into blue. They've got full control of this side of the map, but Empty, Steve on the flank is trying to get a little bit aggressive, try to pick one off. JJ inside of Moto is going to be felled, and while Bry as well is doing his best work to try and bring things back, it's not going too well for them as the kills continue to fly in. No, Empty's actually able to finish off the Montang. The impact grenade's working out so well for them. Explicit on a triple kill, Rival finds the final one. A good effort from the Valkyrie defenders, but site take works to perfection. Once again, that roam game not working too well for these defenders so far. 2 rounds in a row where we've seen the direct site take work to perfection.
Yeah. I think it's just like it might just be like a setup thing because like usually if you go for a heavy roam, the attacking team will feel pressured enough, especially if all of the hatches are open, especially if you are a team that's very, very good at retaking site really, really quickly, surrounded by a lot of the utilities, such as the Legions, such as the Fenrir. Really things that can help you information on where the push is actually coming from. In that case, Valkyrie just like lost way too many bodies early and wasted talents, sensing that they had like the push into generators almost directly on, and then also AKs again being clear in that position, allowing the walk in from dirt, made it all too easy for wasted talents to execute and then get their first round win on.
I believe we have a little bit of an issue with skins going on, so we're going to have to wait just a little bit to get into round number 8. But we can go ahead and talk a little bit about the defensive side. We're going to head back to church, and we've got a little bit more of a standard lineup being brought out by Team Valkyrie, a little bit less of an aggressive one. No Solus, no Vigil being brought out this time, and indicating a lot more focus being put on trying to deny that direct site take that we see from the attackers, at least to this point. Like we saw in the last round, you have a lot of that focus being put on that blue take, and you've got a Warden to try and stop that execute, and even the Valkyrie to try to gain information on where potential site execute could come.
While we try and figure what is actually going on and what the conclusion is, we may actually get a rehost. I'm not too sure what the context behind anything is, but at the moment, yeah, Wasted Talent's just doing a very good job a lot of the times, especially in their attacks, forcing just a lot of these direct engagements against Valkyrie and then just winning them out almost immediately and just taking full advantage of everything that Valkyrie do wrong.
Well, I'd like to see Valkyrie put a little bit more emphasis, not only with the Valkyrie, just a lot more operators at least dedicated towards the information. I don't think we saw much barbed wire or anything along those lines as well. Maybe some proximity alarms to kind of help figure out where Wasted Talent want to push from, because we've seen them, at least to this point, be really aggressive on both sides. And obviously, based on the scoreline, it's paid off in dividends for them. They've been very good on the opening picks as well.
Yeah, it's just you would think like information isn't like a really big issue. We saw this in the last game between Coastal Gaming and Bros Without Hose. Things like just not bringing enough trap operators or not bringing any like simple site setup things like for second floor in particular, not bringing any barbed wire for like the main stairs or not bringing any like proximity alarms for main stairs. And then it's like surprise Pikachu face when you end up getting pushed there just because you have nothing in that area. It can be very weird, and it kind of just proves to show you that like defense may be powerful, but like you need to like be very effective with your defensive setups and how you play defense as well, and how you play around said setup too.
And I guess this gives us the opportunity to remind you all what is at stake in this map. If Wasted Talent can pick up 3 more rounds, they'll only need to play 1 more best of 1 later tonight, actually right after this, to determine if they'll qualify for playoffs tonight. If Valkyrie can't come back and bring it a little bit better on their defensive half than what we saw in that first round, they'll need to play 2 more best of 3s to try and qualify for playoffs, which is a long way and a lot of maps to play over the remaining weekend, and really don't want to be in that situation.
No, I mean, you have like, even if you win, you come up like against a really good team like Coastal Gaming too, so it's like it doesn't really matter. I think who wins this game, it's gonna be a good game once we get into the final game of tonight for that promotion match. But it'll be interesting because like I know like yesterday there were like some pretty surprising results, especially with Osiris and Outlast being as one-sided as it was, and then Outlast now going into that bottom bracket to face Temper White, which even though a lot of people may not think too much of Temper White, I think Temper White are a pretty good team. And I think that game against Outlast will be very good no matter what map we go on. But yeah, it's just pretty interesting. I think like the whole GSL format that we have too, instead of it being Swiss, because Swiss can just last like forever. GSL is a little bit quicker. You have a lot of best of 1, so even some of the better teams in this tournament will struggle in these opening matches simply because it's a best of 1 and you're maybe put on a map that you're not the best at, but the other team is really good at.
Well, unfortunately, the issues are taking a little bit longer than we had anticipated, so we're going to throw to a quick break before we can find out the conclusion of this match. But when we come back, it's the finale of Wasted Talent versus Valkyrie. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the XGS Spring Burst. We're still here with Wasted Talent versus Team Valkyrie. And if you want a little bit of an update on the situation, Wasted Talent forfeited the last round because of a skin issue, a headgear issue. I'm not too sure which one it was. But Valkyrie win that one by forfeit. And now they get to move on to bedroom and gym. I'm still talking. This is still nomical. And I mean, that might be heartbreaking for Wasted Talent, huh, nomical? Because, like, you win that round pretty convincingly, and you just lose it based off of a technicality. Of course, JD does not let that slide.
Yeah, that really is going to be a big blow to Wasted Talent's chances, because the fact that not only did they have the lead, but they had won their first attack, and it was on Church of all places, and that can be so demoralizing for a team when you lose your first defense, especially on a site that you're really expected to win just because of how Clubhouse and really the meta as a whole plays out. That site is so hard to attack, especially with the lineup that Valkyrie was bringing. They had a really heavy roam presence. They had a lot of information on the board as well. But looking back at this round, we're heading over towards Gym for the second defense for Team Valkyrie. First one that we're quote-unquote officially going to see because, like you said, round forfeited round number 7. And in this round, we've got that surprise factor. We've got that Frost on the board for Bri. It's going to mean Wasted Talent are going to have to be a little bit more careful when they go to jump in and when they potentially go for a late round execute because, like we saw back when Valkyrie was on the attack a couple times, they might find themselves down to a Frost mat.
Interestingly enough, Edie's going to bring the bandit, and he's going to be situated over by Cash and CC. JJ as the mute is going to be positioned in a bathroom breach. So really what they're trying to do as well as possible is just to slow down the initial push into Cash's CC via the bandit. They don't have the Super Owl being played despite him being available and Wasted Talent. So numerous amount of times use the Super Owl and the Kai together, especially for their basement defenses. So that's pretty interesting that they're going for like the old school bandit battery trick. But with Ace having his nerf some time ago, it's more possible than ever to do that now.
Is Didi going to get this bandit trigger? I'm not sure if Yenin actually put that thermite charge down, but I believe it actually did get the exothermic. Yeah. So that bandit trick is going to deny the last of the thermite charges, the exothermics, and it's going to leave them a little bit more limited on their hard breach, but ALX is not going to be limited on his killing abilities. He's going to find Empty, and that's going to be the Wamai off the board. No more magnets generating in his back pocket. It's going to be Wasted Talent. Going to be a little bit more free with how they want to use the utility, but ALX is going to get swung from inside of construction. Deity is going to finally find an equalizer, and these teams trade down to a 4 versus 4.
Yeah, they just don't really have this platform wall open, meaning that Deity can just walk in front of this, put pressure onto Highway just as much as possible. JJ gets in on the fun too. He finds, I believe that was Zim, the ace, and Team Valkyrie put themselves in that 4v3. The only thing that Wasted Talents have open is a Jacuzzi Breach, and they might just funnel into this.
Clearly now on the back foot. They don't have much utility left to work with. They've only got a couple smoke in the back pocket of Rival, and it's going to make it a little bit harder for them to push in, especially because JJ is situated here in M590. It can be so lethal at close range, and JJ has the read of the fact that potentially all three players now rotating to the Jacuzzi Breach could be a huge impetus. JJ swings. It's good to shut down one, gets a second, and leaves Explicit all alone in the 1 versus 4, walking his way up main stairs. They've got the perfect read on him, and he's going to be found out by Deity. Team Valkyrie extend their lead on a beautiful gem hold, thanks in part to their team captain in IGL, JJ swinging out and shutting that down.
Yeah, a big part of that was just the 9 that breach over by Cash and CCTV all together, and it seems like Wasted Talent wasn't prepared to have to pivot and use Jacuzzi as their only form of entry inside of the map. And even then, towards the last part of that round, when they tried to use the flashes to make a quick entry into bedroom, I was very into gym. I was very surprised that they all just ran in before the flash detonated, because if they would have waited just a little bit longer, JJ would have probably swung out a lot sooner, and they would have just had the range advantage over him just by waiting for him to do that. But I think they were just a little bit flustered because they couldn't get that TC wall open, all in due to the part that they just left that exodermic on the wall to sit and simmer instead of just like removing it just for a little bit and waiting for the thermite or the Thatcher MP to detonate so that the bandit batteries could have been removed.
10 seconds to insertion.
And that comes back to that drone game once again.
5
Throughout
seconds
the night,
remaining.
we've seen all the teams struggle when it comes to their drone and information department. If Wasted Talent had just droned out effectively before they'd actually gone for that, before they'd actually started to focus on the execute, they would have known that there is a bandit sitting there and ready and waiting to destroy that exothermic chart. So, Wasted Talent now gonna need be a little bit more effective on their drone work, a little bit more effective when it comes to clearing out the map, especially because of the fact that they're now 1 round away from match point, and they've already lost 3 drones just 25 seconds in.
Yeah, this round, Bri's gonna bring the Solus, meaning that droning is just gonna be a lot harder. And I've seen this before from Wasted Talents, using the Yosa shield just outside the plat wall. But last time they used it, they had the Maverick instead, so the Thermite gonna be a lot quicker in opening up the plat wall, because simply put, Valkyrie don't have any utility to deny the breach apart from Deity on the Kaid, and just Kaid by himself is not nearly enough to deny the breach onto the plat.
Yeah, that buck down below. It's going to be Rival just good inside of stock, trying to create a little bit of a nightmare situation from below, but from above it's going to be Deity to give Rival a taste of his own medicine. Those holes work both ways, and it's going to go very poorly for the buck. Opening pick in favor of Valkyrie, and it's going to get a little bit better for them. Thankfully, Zim is going to be able to trade onto the Solus, and not having that on the board, Valkyrie is going to mean it's a little bit harder for the defense to figure out where it is that the remaining attackers are going to come from, where that utility is going to be focused as well. Deity still a force to be reckoned with, just sitting inside of the site, potentially has a read on the player outside on the platform wall, and with both those Osa shields destroyed by the impact grenades, by the C4s being thrown out, I mean, it's a little bit more of an exposed position for ALX as he tries to sit here.
Looks like they droned out the Raptors position and put somebody up there, so getting garage control even when you have the platform wall open just doesn't really bode well here for Team Valkyrie, so they might have to just aggress and like push together as a team onto the Raptors position, which is what it seems like they're prepping for.
Yeah, Yenning gonna have a little bit of a harder time trying to go for this, especially because Deity's got the cover. Explicit's good for 1, actually make it 2 as he just walks into the garage and takes control of that part of the map. And now it's gonna leave Valkyrie on the back foot now. Both players are situated inside of the red and cash positions, and well, here comes the swing potentially. JJ not quite reacting quick enough. It's gonna enable the player to switch by the window just with his head barely intact. Empty, just sitting around this green box position, trying to deny any entrance from garage. ALX has the diffuser in pocket. He's going to get spotted out by the Finner. He's going to make it a little bit harder for him to push in successfully, but Yenin is going to find that one. JJ now alone in the 1 versus 3, and Yenin is going to shut down the final 2. Wasted Talent finally get the attacking round that they've been searching for after they had one stolen away at the skin issue and then walk away from them in the final moments. Last round, a beautiful take onto the garage, thanks in part to Explicit's efforts.
Yeah, Explicit together with his teammate, they just both decided to really aggress onto Raptors. They have no utility to push into Raptors in the first place. No flashes, no EMPs. Everything has been used for that main breach of the platform to platform
Attackers
wall
need to
just to
locate
get
and
that wall
defuse as
open
many
very,
bombs
very
as they
quickly.
can.
And Valkyrie seemingly not ready for it. The player on the bomb chassis of I believe that was Edie playing around that position, just not really able to help or win the gunfight against Explicit. And that's what it came down to, just winning your fights and winning your ones. And Explicit did that extremely well on the Thatcher, a support operator, somebody who you're not normally supposed to get kills with, and he does just that.
Well, we're going to head back to the basement for round number 10. We're going to have the
10 seconds to
Montang
go.
being brought out this time by Wasted Talent. We've seen that a couple times
5 seconds left.
throughout the previous map, but it's going to mean it might be a dirt take here from Wasted
Attackers
Talent. They might
must
be
locate and
trying to
defuse
funnel
the bomb.
themselves in through that position, try to create themselves a little bit of a safer position to execute that off of, and well, you've got the Grim to help with that as well to try and force the defenders back. And well, I'm very curious to see what it is that Wasted Talent want to do here. They've got Hitmen in the position to try and potentially deny the attack if it comes through dirt like I mentioned it might.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Chaka?
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I was
But yeah,
just wondering where
but-
you were.
Yeah, no. I just did a Chaka moment where I mute my microphone for some unknown reason, and I just don't talk. But yeah, more than prep to deal with this dirt push. They have a Fenrir mine dealt with that, but they completely bypassed it on that entry into dirt. What the hell?
Yeah, not quite sure what's going on there. Is Yenin just working his way in? He's going to have impact grenades being thrown at him, and it's going to do a lot of damage to him as well. Got Hetman just situated in a position. He's going to be spotted out by the Montang, but not going to be finished off as Hitman's actually going to rotate back with just enough time to spare. And while all of this is happening, you've got Explicit working his way in up above in Kitchen. Supported by Rival and Zim, who are trying to get a push on the Kitchen, trying to put a little bit of pressure on the site. But what? The Montang dies as he tries to push in through dirt, and Hitman's able to finish him off. Not exactly sure how that happened with the shield fully extended, but nonetheless, it's going to be opening pick for Team Valkyrie.
I'm not too sure it happened either. He just died like in one hit to the face, and so now Valkyrie have that man advantage. Now they don't have this Monty pushing in dirt against them, so there's less pressure to deal with. And Bry is just waiting for the execute through the hatches to happen here from Wasted Talent, and it's really all that they have going for them.
Just down to about 50 seconds left. They have the ping on the player on the AK spot, and ALX is finally going to punish Hitman. But the drop's going to come in here from Wasted Talent, and Rival has a player just situated right next to him. He has no idea. Deity is able to swing and finish him off, and the attack, the execute, is shut down very, very quickly. Explicit now alone in a 1 versus 4. He's at the bottom of main stairs. He's working against that Lucy. Not going to be an advantageous position. There, he's got 2 different angles to work with. Very low HP, and just 20 seconds left. Surely this round is all but over, and there you go. It's going to be Bry to shut him down. And another successful defense for Team Valkyrie.
Yeah, key to that round was just killing the Monty early on, and I'm not too sure how that happened. It doesn't seem to be any complaints from Wasted Talent in the all chat, so it probably wasn't a glitch or like something that Valkyrie exploited by pure accident or by pure chance. So yeah, just a very odd way to die very quickly. And even though the dirt push with the Fenrir mines and a lot of the traps positioned over by that area, like 1 or 2 Legion mines and then 2 Fenrir gadgets,
Attackers need to
it
locate
didn't
and defuse
really slow down that push
bombs
all
if they
too
can.
well. Killing the Monty just proved to be the nail in the coffin there for Wasted Talents. They didn't really have anywhere else to execute, and even though they cleared the AK's position, all they had to really do was just drop down the hashes. But Bry playing on the bomb chassis, not being detected, and that's not a position that you normally play anyways, just swings off of that information and kills the person with the diffuser trying to get a plant down inside of sight.
for what potentially could be the final round of this game. We'll head to Jim and bedroom now, as
10 seconds left
the side of the
before
Valkyrie, we've got that Frost being brought out once again, and oh, Deity playing on that bandit. We saw it last time we were here. He was an absolute force to be reckoned with. He was really a crippling factor for Wasted Talent's attack because of the fact that he was able to bandit trick that exothermic on the CCTV wall. It limited a lot of the angles that Wasted Talent could come from because of the fact that they didn't have the control needed to go for a CCTV cache execute. They were forced to funnel themselves in through the jacuzzi breach, and they were met by JJ, who had that shotgun, and, well, imagine a shotgun at close range. It's not going to go too well for you, so we need to see Wasted Talent a little bit better here of trying to actually have a dedicated push towards the west side of the map.
Yeah, last time that they tried to push from this area, that breach, the platform breach, was completely denied to them, and it seems like Team Valkyrie wants to do that yet again, but it's just going to be open this time around. Wasted Talents finally get the platform wall open, but their Valkyrie aren't denying that well anymore. They've completely switched up their focus. Instead, are going to try and deny the jacuzzi breach. And really, the only way that Wasted Talent will win this round, or even get any semblance of control or possibility, is by getting the CCTV cache control.
Opening big, actually, two of them going to go in favor of Wasted Talent, make it 3, as Wasted Talent just come alive as their guns are going all perfectly. It's all but over. Okay, the round just ends in a matter of about 10 seconds, and most of the kills happen from outside of the building. Valkyrie getting way too aggressive there and absolutely punished for it, and they throw away their first chance of potentially being able to shut this game down. Now just one round away from overtime. We'll head back to gym and bedroom and see if Wasted Talent can replicate that same success.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by how quickly that round ended, and the reason why is because I didn't really get to see anything that happened. Like, all I saw was that Alex got the first pick. I'm like, okay, where did Alex get that first pick? Oh, he's just already in Logi. Like, what? That's the room next to the site. What do you mean he's already in Logi, ready to activate? And that's what I was talking about, like, earlier. Wasted Talent are a very aggressive team. They just know, not only are they aggressive on the defense, but they're just aggressive on the attack as well. And when they see anything that can be easily exploited, they're going to fully exploit it. And in that sense, it was logistics. It was just everywhere. Anytime that Valkyrie tried to get aggressive, like you said, immediately shut down by Wasted Talent.
Well, now Valkyrie, they need to do a little bit better job here of holding their trigger fingers. They need to not overswing so much. Like we saw, they swung from so many different positions and were punished every single time. Wasted Talent were beautifully ready for it. They had the right read. And I imagine they likely had good intel on the positioning of the Valkyrie defenders. But for this round, it's going to be pretty much the same thing, I believe. The only real difference I'm noticing is we don't have that bandit. But like we saw, it didn't really have much impact on the last round. Yen was able to get that main platform breach open with little time expended.
Yeah. That was partly due to the fact that Valkyrie weren't even trying to deny that wall. They were trying to deny the jacuzzi breach. And Wasted Talent said bet, and they just, like, opened platform wall and just ran in and got kills because Valkyrie swung them in different places. So now it's gym bedroom. This defense, they don't have a bandit this time around, and it seems like Valkyrie aren't even extending that much towards cache and CCTV. They've just completely closed off at the platform wall. Actually, there's a player top red, and he does have some soft support for construction. Bry holding the long angle, and Hitman with the very first pick.
Yeah, that's a big pick because you can't really use that buck from below anymore to try and stall out or pull the crossfire from below in a position inside of the site, or even in Logi for that matter. It's going to mean that Team Valkyrie is a lot safer in the positions that they currently hold. While Wasted Talent, they do have a lot of their hard breach still available to them. They don't have much else to try and assist them with an execute later in that. They don't have any smoke grenades. They only have one set of flashes as well, so it'll be very limited, and they're going to have to rely a lot on their just gun prowess alone. While it has worked for them in the past, you'd like to have that utility on the board as well. Rival finally does find a pick back and even gets us out into a 4 versus 4, but still, not much map control for the side of Wasted Talent.
I mean, that kill over by Cash makes it easier to isolate this pick over on the top right stairs against Empty. JJ tries to retake Logi, and he does it successfully. So it's a flurry for kills for Team Valkyrie, who end off the map with the bang, just as Wasted Talent tried to start it. And it's Valkyrie to take the map of Clubhouse and put themselves into that promotion bracket later on tonight they'll be playing Coastal Gaming in a best of one to see if they'll be able to make playoffs.
Well, and I hate to say it, but that little issue in round number 6 might have been the difference in that game because of the fact that, remember, the round that ended up going the way over to the forfeit to Valkyrie was a one round by wasted talent. We could have had overtime there if things had gone their way, at least. But really, the story of that game was aggression on both sides. We saw the final 2 rounds just absolutely littered with it. And, well, it went one round towards Wasted Talent, one round towards Valkyrie, and that ended up being the deciding factor was the fact that Wasted Talent was inconsistent with their aggression, at least when their aggression was paying off. So, condolences to them. They'll have a little bit tougher road ahead to try and qualify for the playoffs, but Valkyrie been really good on those defenses in the second half.
I'll say though, and this is not me necessarily disagreeing with you, but also at the same time kind of is. But I feel like Wasted Talent, we're pretty consistent with their aggression. Again, I think it was like you said that one round where they just had a skin issue, and Team Valkyrie were able to get that overturned because Wasted Talent had no choice but to forfeit it in favor of them. So I thought this game, by all metrics, was pretty even until that one round didn't go in Wasted Talent's favor, even though they did convincingly win it in the server. It was just unfortunate timing, and so now they have to play an elimination match on either Saturday or Sunday.
I believe they'll play again tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the first round of the elimination matches will be tomorrow. Yes, indeed. So we'll see them in action again later on. But we've got another best of one ahead of us. Valkyrie, of course, not quite done for the night. They've got a matchup with Coastal Gaming, and well, I mean, Coastal Gaming. Just thinking about them just a little bit, they're very aggressive as well. So this could be an interesting clash of the two teams because we just saw Wasted Talent be really aggressive. How are Valkyrie going to factor themselves into that in the next game?
We'll just have to